Sexuality, emotional vulnerability, obsession, and investigation are all major themes with having your Black Moon Lilith and Scorpio in your chart. However, which of these themes is most dominant is going to be dependent on the house that your Lilith and Scorpio is in. So in this video, I want to break down what it means to have your Black Moon Lilith and Scorpio and in each house so that you can understand where shame shows up the most for you. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Isabel and today we are talking about what it means to have your Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio through each house. I've gotten a lot of requests for this video. I've gotten a lot of comments on my YouTube channel on my Scorpio Black Moon Lilith video on what it means to have your Lilith in Scorpio and each house. So today we're finally diving into that. Sorry it's taken so long. And before we dive in, I have a super exciting announcement to make. My Black Moon Lilith workbook is finally launched. So if you're wanting to use your Black Moon Lilith to heal your shame, if you want to learn more about your Black Moon Lilith and what it means to have it in each sign and each house and each sign and house combination, get my Black Moon Lilith workbook down below. It's either going to be in the astrology bundle or up for sale individually, depending on when you're watching this video. I am figuring out how exactly I'm going to put it up, but it is available either way, regardless, down below, either for individual sale as the Black Moon Lilith workbook or in my astrology bundle, where not only you'll get access to my Black Moon Lilith workbook, but all of my other astrology workbooks for one super cheap set price. So check it out down below, learn more down below. It's now available. Learn how to heal your Black Moon Lilith and everything that you need to know to dive deep into your Black Moon Lilith placement. And of course, if you want to learn more about your chart, book a reading, and if you want to become your own astrologer or an astrologer for other people, check out my course, The Master Astrologer, down below. In this video specifically, I'm going to cover what Black Moon Lilith is, what it means to have your Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio, and then we'll dive deep into what it means to have your Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio through each house, as well as including my #1 tip for healing your placement with your Black Moon Lilith specifically in each house. So first things first, what is the Black Moon Lilith? Chances are, if you're watching this video, you probably already know what this is, so feel free to skip through this section using the timestamps below if you already know. But for those who don't, Black Moon Lilith is a point in our chart that is going to have this kind of symbol going alongside with it. It is, so to say, the darkest point on the moon's orbit, and what it represents in our chart is the part of ourselves we feel ashamed of or that we're going to be rejected for. It is our shadow traits. And if you want to learn more about Black Moon Lilith, I will have a video just on what is Black Moon Lilith coming soon. But the part that you need to know is that whatever sign it's in is going to tell you what you feel ashamed of, because at some point in childhood you had an experience of embracing this zodiac sign's energy and you felt that you were either rejected, shamed, guilted for embracing this. And so now you associate this part of yourself with something that is going to lead to your rejection. So you suppress it and hide it. However, Black Moon Lilith is a place of power for us all. And when we embrace it, we become extremely powerful and inspire other people. Now, what does it mean to have your Black Moon Lilith in the sign of Scorpio? As I said in the intro, there's a few different traits that can come along with Black Moon Lilith and Scorpio, and depending on the sign it's in, the house that your Black Moon Lilith is in, will change which of these is most dominant. But overall, if you have a Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio, you feel deeply ashamed for simply your intensity. You pursue seeking depth in some area of your life or in some form or fashion, whether that's through investigation and asking hard questions, obsession and focusing fully on whatever you're interested in or whoever you're interested in, or seeking depth through intimacy and emotional vulnerability and sexuality, which can kind of all blend into the same concept of the emotional depth that you want to cultivate. Regardless, you feel ashamed for your depths. You feel as though you were rejected early on in life for being deep, for being investigative, for being obsessive about something or someone. And so you're taught to be more superficial. However, you have a gift of depth that when you embrace, you can form intimate relationships with other people, make other people feel understood, and just embody, really, with Scorpio energy, such high power. To quote my Black Moon Lilith workbook on what it means to have your Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio, when Black Moon Lilith is in Scorpio, it brings feelings of shame around our emotions, sexuality, and obsessiveness. Often, those who have a Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio are raised in a household where being superficial is rewarded and taught that they're deep introspective, and sometimes obsessive nature is too much for others to handle. Individuals with Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio may have especially struggled in their young adult years when it came to developing a healthy relationship with their sexuality, feeling that they shouldn't embrace any physical or emotional feelings they experience. However, the shame around depth is also a power. Again, taken from my Black Moon Lilith workbook. You can check it out down below and get it down below. There's tons of worksheets in there, including a worksheet on what it means to have your Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio through each house. So what does it mean to have, though, your Black Moon Lilith in a house? Whatever house your Black Moon Lilith is in is going to indicate where in your life this shame shows up the most, or where you struggle to embrace this powerful sign energy the most. So if your Black Moon Lilith is in your first house and in the sign of Scorpio, you feel ashamed for having a deep, intense, or powerful appearance. From a young age, you naturally had a lot of strength and power in your persona. You seemed deep, you seemed investigative, you seemed a bit obsessive. This was all about your appearance. You appeared like a Scorpio. But at some point, you were taught along the way that to appear so powerful, to have so much dynamism, I would call it, to have such obsessive energy, to have such deep energy, to appear so investigative was wrong. And so now you associate this persona with a feeling of shame. And so you have basically image conscious energies to work through. And so with that being said, I would say my number one tip for those who have a Black Moon Lilith and Scorpio in first house to work through their shame is to spend time not only just healing generally, but healing their relationship with their appearance, not only just physically, but how they show up with other people, how they present themselves, paying attention to how you present yourselves, and notice how you really want to present yourself. Is there harder questions you want to ask, but you're afraid you're going to be rejected for it? Practice embracing the Scorpio energy once again in the way you appear with others. If your Black Moon Lilith is in Scorpio and in your second house of wealth and worth, you feel a sense of shame for the fact that you find a sense of self-worth through the deep relationship you cultivate with yourself and with others. When Black Moon Lilith is in Scorpio and in the second house, this puts both a focus on being Scorpio themes in your self-worth and in your finances. And so in one interpretation, this can play out as being naturally emotionally in tune with yourself, and this giving you a sense of self-worth. Being focused on self-transformation and self-discovery, and this giving you self-worth. On the other hand, with this being the financial end, these people can naturally be, or at a young age, want to be ever-changing with their finances, a bit volatile with their finances, spending as they please, going through phases where they have zero money in their bank account to having lots of money in their bank account. This is a roller coaster effect that is applied to finances. However, they feel ashamed for it. But this is also a place of power. When a Black Moon Lilith and Scorpio embraces their power of it being in their second house, they can inspire other people to cultivate deep relationships with themselves for the sake of cultivating self-worth, and to allow themselves to go through phases with their finances rather than having to have steady finances as we're all taught we should. So my number one tip for those who have a Black Moon Lilith and Scorpio in their second house is to spend time cultivating their self-worth, having self-care practices, and transforming themselves, allowing themselves to change. What does it mean to change to you? Why do you believe you always have to stay the same? What would it be like to allow yourself to go through self-transformation? And how have you been craving to transform yourself? Embody these things, and also let yourself be a little ever-changing in your finances, because this is just naturally how you're going to embrace or manage your finances. If your Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio is in your third house of communications and networking, you feel ashamed for having deep or intense conversations or having deep, intense way of expressing yourself. When Black Moon Lilith is in Scorpio and in third house, this really puts an emphasis on the communication of depth, the communication of emotions, whether that be just with yourself or with how you network with people. You crave depth or deep conversation with everyone you interact with, or you have a natural tendency to ask the hard questions in your day-to-day life, but you feel that this is something wrong. And so you hide this natural communication style that wants to express depth, ask hard questions, be investigative, be a bit obsessive, be curious, or maybe even a bit mysterious. However, this is a place of power for you. When Black Moon Lilith and Scorpio in third house embraces their power, they have the power or ability to cultivate deep interactions in day-to-day life with people, leaving people shaken to their core and realizing what kind of depth can be experienced, and also just inspiring people to express their emotions in their day-to-day life, in their day-to-day communication. So my number one tip for Black Moon Lilith and Scorpio in third house would be to practice asking the questions you want to ask truly. This would be my number one thing for them, since this is all about your communication. Or simply, you can start with writing out your deep emotions or writing out your deep thoughts. If your Black Moon Lilith is in the 4th house and in Scorpio, you have a desire for depth and transformation in your family. You probably felt at an early age you wanted to be close with your family and spend a lot of time with them or merge your sense of self with them, but you were taught at some point that this is wrong and that you should be more independent and more self-sufficient. But this is also a place of power for you. Black Moon Lilith and Scorpio, in the end, in 4th house, feels a sense of shame for wanting closeness in the home, whether that be with their parents, siblings, or kids. But they can also have the strength of cultivating depth with their family, in their kids, with their parents, with their siblings, and cultivating just emotional closeness and a sense of trust and vulnerability in the end. So my number one tip for Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio in 4th house would be to, again, ask the hard questions, as I say, kind of for all Black Moon Lilith and Scorpio placements, but cultivate depth with your family life. Figure out what family members, whether that be your own children or your siblings, who can you cultivate more closeness with? Who can you develop more trust with? And also do this with your physical home. Give yourself a home that gives you a sense that you can be close and deep with it and live a deep, meaningful life. If your Black Moon Lilith is in Scorpio and in the 5th house of creative expression and flirting, you seek deep depth and meaning through your creative expression and through dating, and yet you feel a sense of shame in this area of life. So in interpretation number 1, you may be naturally good at forming deep conversation in romantic settings where you're flirting with people. You may be a bit even seductive, or have naturally at a young age embraced your sexual energy, so to say, in positive or negative ways, but you're taught to be this deep, intimate, and sexual maybe person. Seductive person in dating was wrong, and so you need to be more conservative, simply put. In the other interpretation, you may have sought out depth through creative expression. You may have been naturally good at seeking emotional depth through creative means, or expressing deeper sides of yourself through creativity, whether that be through how you move in dancing or how you create or how you paint. You naturally had an ability to express yourself deeply through creative forms, and this was somehow wrong or too much for people. And so now you struggle. But this is a place of power, because you can bring depth to romantic interactions and deep expression creatively that inspires others. So my number one tip for these people would to be get back in touch with your emotions and ask yourself how you want to express them creatively, and also what kind of interactions do you want to have in romance, in dating, and how can you re-embrace your investigative, curious, and deep energy here. If your Black Moon Lilith is in Scorpio and in the 6th house, you feel shame for wanting to seek depth and intensity and being a bit obsessive in your day-to-day life. How I think this most likely plays out is these are the kind of people who get focused on projects in a single day, whether that be rebuilding their roof or trying to clean out all their cabinets. You have a natural tendency to want to obsess over something on a day-to-day basis. When you wake up, you want something to focus on. And yet you were taught that this is something to be ashamed of, that your obsessive nature was too imbalanced. However, this is a place of power for you because you naturally feel good when you have something to obsess over in your day-to-day life or in your day-to-day work. So if you're in the service industry, if you have more so a job rather than a career, you probably want to feel that you are fully invested in it. But this is something to be ashamed of. But truly, it is a place of power. And so my number one tip for the Black Moon Lilith and Scorpio in 6th house placement is to find a job where you get to clock in and get to be truly obsessive, because this is what you truly want. Or at the very least, have passion projects that you can do on a day-to-day basis. If your Black Moon Lilith is in Scorpio and in the 7th house, you seek depth, intimacy, and maybe even sexuality strongly in your one-on-one relationships. So whether this be with friends or romantic partnerships, the Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio's 7th house placement is someone who seeks depth in one-on-one interactions, whether that be in romantic, and that's more sexual energy or more intimacy, or if it's on the friendship end and wanting emotional vulnerability. Regardless, these people seek depth in their one-on-one interactions, but they're taught from a young age that to want deep partnership is wrong, whether that be through their friend connections or through parental connections. They were taught that to want depth and one-on-one connection is wrong. This is a place of power, though. These people can form a level of depth in their one-on-one interactions very, very strongly and very powerfully in ways that make people feel that they can trust others once again and share their deepest thoughts with them. So my number one tip for these people is to find those who they can trust, find those who they can deeply interact with, which I know is easier said than done sometimes, but allow yourself to share your deeper thoughts, share your deeper emotions, ask the hard questions in your one-on-one interactions. If your Black Moon Lilith is in Scorpio and in 8th house, it's in its home house. And what this I think really means is that you just feel generally the deepest level of shame and guilt over your naturally deep nature that either dives deep into itself, merges with other people and forms, so to say, codependent relationships, and of course feels ashamed of their sexuality, because the 8th house is the house of codependency in the end. It's where we allow ourselves to merge and become one with another person. And so when Lilith is in Scorpio and in the 8th house, these people can feel very ashamed of having this naturally deep energy that becomes merging with another person, whether that be through sexuality or through finances or through emotional depth. And so these people feel that they cannot embrace these things. In an early age, they may have felt that they were not allowed to be reliant on other people. And so now they have to be very independent. However, this is a place of power. When these people allow themselves to embrace their power, they can form deep dependent, which is not always a bad thing, relationships with others. They have a level of sexual energy that can be very powerful. They can form intimate relationships unlike any other. And so these people truly, I think in the end, have a journey around redeveloping intimate relationships, because this is where we allow ourselves to share with other people. Of course, with that, you can only form as intimate of a relationship with others as you have with yourself. So doing inner work can be very powerful for these people. Dive deep into yourself. And that would probably be my number one tip for these people is, with this placement, dive deep into yourself so that you can then, secondly, dive deep with other people and form intimate relationships. If your Black Moon Lilith is in Scorpio and in the 9th house, you seek deep meaning in life through developing your beliefs and values. You are the kind of person who questions, what is the meaning of life? Why are we here? You want to dive deep into religion or values or beliefs, or question existence or experience new things. You travel for the sake of experiencing deep meaning. That's what you wanted to do at a young age. You wanted to be an explorer and a questioner of why things are the way they are and why do we believe certain things. But you were taught at some age or some point in life that this is wrong. This could have been easily put the child who questioned, like, Mom, why are we Christian? Why do we believe in God? Do we even know if there's a God out there? And to, of course, many parents who maybe are more set in their beliefs, they can say, no, you're not supposed to question that. Don't question God. You're just supposed to believe and follow as you're supposed to, especially because you're a child. You're not supposed to be questioning these things. And so these people can feel a sense of shame for their questioning nature around their beliefs, simply put. This could also be simply, Mom, why don't we travel? Why don't we go new places? This could have been the child who it literally explored, wandered off, but taught that this is wrong. But these people have a power for the sense that they find a sense of power by seeking meaning and exploration. They seek depth through physical mental exploration, which is questioning beliefs, deepening their personal beliefs, or exploring the world. And so my number one tip for these people to embrace their power and heal their shame is to start exploring again, whether that be exploring your beliefs or exploring the physical world to develop a sense of depth and meaning in life. If your Black Moon Lilith is in Scorpio and in the 10th house, you want to feel deep and obsessive with your career, but you're taught to be obsessed with your career is wrong. And so these people hide this part of themselves. However, your natural talent is to be obsessed with your career. You want to have a job, a career, a passion that you feel fascinated with and obsessed with. And so my number one tip for these people to heal their shame around feeling guilt and shame around passion and depth in their career is to start cultivating more depth with your career again. What have you wanted to do in your career? How can you obsess over your career? How can you find more emotional depth and meaning in your career? If your Black Moon Lilith is in Scorpio and in the 11th house, you seek depth in your community. You want to connect deeply with your friend groups and community, and also connect deeply to a sense of purpose. You probably had a natural tendency to obsess over the meaning of life, but you were taught from a young age that you are just too obsessive and that you should just focus on what makes you happy rather than trying to change the world or make an impact. But this is actually a strength of yours. And I understand this well because my Scorpio South node is in 11th house. So it's somewhat similar. But to heal the shame, these people need to get back in touch with their obsessive nature about how they're going to leave an impact in the world and use their skills of investigation to either make a positive impact on community or the world at large. And finally, if your Black Moon Lilith is in Scorpio and in the 12th house, you're someone who naturally has a deep connection to themselves. You spend a lot of time in solitude at a young age to listen to your own inner thoughts, but you're taught that you're too solitary or too isolated or don't like people, apparently, because you'd rather spend time in your own head questioning your own thoughts, or you were sharing your unconscious fears in emotionally vulnerable ways, and that was too much for people. And so my number one tip for the Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio in 12th house is to get back in touch with their unconscious. Spend time in solitude to cultivate a deep relationship with your mind. So hopefully that gives you guys a pretty good idea of what it means to have your Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio through the houses. Let me know, what is your Black Moon Lilith placement in the comments below, specifically what house is your Scorpio Lilith in? Did this resonate for you? What did I miss? And of course, if you want to dive deeper into how to heal your Black Moon Lilith, get the Black Moon Lilith workbook that is available now in the link in the description below. I will also put a card up here. It's either going to be available for individual sale or in my astrology bundle. You can also get the astrology bundle just to access all of my astrology workbooks. So check it out down below. Let me know your thoughts down below, and be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay tuned for more videos. If you want to dive deeper into your personal chart, book a reading down below where we dive deep into your chart and your unique personality type combination. So not just astrology, but Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, and so much more. You can learn more down below. And if you want to become your own astrologer or an astrologer for other people, check out my course, The Master Astrologer, down below, where I teach you everything that I've learned about astrology in a clear, cohesive fashion, because there's so much information out there. It can be very hectic to get into astrology. And so I made this course just to share what I know in a clear way, so that you're not always having to research for everything and go through thousands of blogs to find the information about astrology. So check it out down below. You can get 50% off The Master Astrologer by commenting the words in all caps, Master Astrologer, and I'll send you the information on how you can get 50% off the course. Thank you guys so much for watching. Sincerely hope you enjoyed. Once again, my name's Isabel, and from my heart to yours, namaste.